Luna from
So if I just go out of the picture for a while, or because you're going.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Urkamp. I'm the Communications Director here at the Archdiocese of Edmonton. Welcome to the media in person and online, as well as to friends in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Today we have an opportunity to speak with Most Reverend Stephen Hero, who is the Archbishop-Designate of Edmonton. Archbishop-Designate was born in Quebec but grew up in Edmonton. He was an ordained priest for the Edmonton Archdiocese. He is a former vocations director, former rector at Saint Joseph Seminary, and professor at Newman Theological College. And last Friday, Pope Leo announced that Archbishop-Designate would be appointed to the Archdiocese of Edmonton. He will be installed on January 23rd at Saint Joseph's Basilica. And this is an opportunity for introduction to the people of the Archdiocese and also to the faithful within our diocese and people all around. So I would ask His Grace to say a few words, and then he can take questions. For the media online and in person, if you can identify yourself by name, the media outlet, and then ask your questions. He'll make very brief comments in French if asked. And one-on-one interviews will be later in January, closer to the installation Mass. So, Your Grace.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew, and thank you for everybody who is joining online or will be watching this. I'm very honored to be selected as Archbishop of Edmonton. It wasn't something I was expecting, but I'm very, very happy to come home to serve the people in this very large territory in Alberta. I've been a bishop for, as you heard, I've been a bishop for 4 years in the Diocese of Prince Albert, which is our neighbor to the east. And I've learned so much in the last 4 years. It's very hard to leave the good people of Prince Albert, and I'm very sad to leave them, as well as, even though it's such a, it's a joy to come home, but I'm certainly going to miss all the people there and the good things that are happening there.
We take the first question.
So you're taking leadership in a time of uncertainty in the province, and people often look to faith.
Yes.
What do you think the church should, what role should the church play?
Mm-hmm. I think the church has a really central role in many people's lives, and certainly that confidence in God and seeking help from the Lord in prayer and reflection on the Word of God and on the church's tradition through the years. That wisdom from the past can help us to understand things rightly where we are and seek a direction for the future. But I think also such great help is being a community of people, of believers who have similar values, and we're able to, rely on one another. There's a lot of help and resources and talents in the community around us. So if we're finding times are uncertain or difficult and we're not sure where to go, it's wonderful to know there's a community of people with faith around us that don't have all the answers all the time, but are really seeking to find those answers together in God.
And your predecessor played a big role in reconciliation. Are you planning on continuing that?
Thank you. Yes, he did, and we're very proud of Archbishop Smith and all the great leadership he gave the last number of years, especially with reconciliation. I've had some experience in Prince Albert, in the diocese where I am currently, Prince Albert. We have at least 33 First Nations and the Métis community. So I think one of the very first things I did as bishop there was right after Kamloops, and so the very first thing I did was to try to meet with members of the different indigenous communities and start to listen and understand what happened and try to take responsibility and to work together for a better future. How can we help and how can we live differently together as friends and so I'm very, I've had some experience with that already, and lots to learn, many friends in First Nations communities. So I'm very sad to leave those communities behind that I know, but I'm very anxious to move a little further west in Treaty 6 territory and start, meeting people here and seeing how can we continue to walk together. So I'm definitely committed, as the whole church is committed to trying to work together and walk together in a healthier way in the future. Yeah. And
so what are your plans? Do you have specific goals for this role you're taking on?
It's a good question. I don't think, yes and no. I don't think bishops arrive with an agenda. I certainly don't have an agenda in my pocket this is what I want to do, definitely. But I think the priority is, there's so many beautiful things happening here in the Archdiocese. It's impressive. I'm here for a few days this week, and I've been meeting staff and people involved, the clergy, and many people involved in ministry, and I just see all the good things that are happening. So I think the first thing I want to do is really listen well to people and to God, and discern how can we continue to work on those good initiatives, and what directions, what are the needs, and how can we get there, address those needs. And so I don't come with an agenda, I guess, but or specific plans, but there'll be a lot of listening for sure at the beginning. Good questions. Thank you. Yes.
So obviously you were the rector at the seminary,
Mm-hmm.
So you played a role in forming these now priests.
Yes.
How do you feel about now taking on this role again?
You might want to ask them how they feel about it. So I had a beautiful celebration with the priests and the deacons of the diocese yesterday, or many of them, just to kind of have a first chance to see them again and to pray together and have a meal together. So I very much appreciated my time in the seminary. So seminary is a place where men go to discern their vocation to priesthood and to be formed, prepared for that mission. That includes all that theological knowledge and all those things. So it was a wonderful part of my life to be part of that. But that work is just, everything that happens in the seminary is just initial formation, it's just the beginning. And we know we're lifelong learners, and we really need to keep growing. And so it's a different role now as a bishop to kind of to keep working with the clergy and help them to keep growing. And they help me to keep growing too in different ways. But so it's a little bit of I said yesterday, a bit of a paradigm shift, that for many of them, some of the priests of the diocese were my mentors when I was a young man and I was growing up here in the Archdiocese, and some are the men that I helped to form and prepare for priesthood, and so they looked at me as a formator, as a teacher, that sort of thing, and now I'm their bishop. But some are friends, colleagues and friends. So I think in faith, we're all just challenged, me included, to see myself now as a shepherd, their shepherd, and still a friend, but a shepherd, and try to together, they're my closest co-workers, to try to really serve the people of the Archdiocese of Edmonton.
Obviously, it's a privilege to be selected for this. I'm wondering what your initial reaction was when you heard that you would be the Archbishop, and I guess what bearing of responsibility that brought to you.
I just didn't hear the last part of the question, sorry.
Was there a certain sense of weight
Yes.
to that role?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't. Normally, bishops don't go back to the or a bishop isn't chosen from the people, from the clergy of that diocese, unless the diocese is really, really big. And so I wasn't really expecting it myself, and my eye was looking at some of my other brothers around me or in Canada. So I was a little surprised, so a whole range of emotions, I think. Surprised, and at a certain point, of course, joy to come home and to be closer to my family and a lot of people that I spent the last 40 years with. But and Edmonton is, I think, a very important archdiocese in the West. It's very large, a number of big institutions like the seminary, several theological colleges, one at the university and one here at Newman Theological College. Many schools, 10 Catholic school divisions, I think. So, so I'm currently a bishop of a smaller area, a smaller population. That also, I certainly do feel the weight of a big responsibility. But there's also a lot of co-workers here, a lot of trained people that are really involved in the mission of the church. So that gives me hope, and also, from my point of view of faith, if the Lord's asking us to do something, He'll certainly give us the grace to do it. He gives us a mission, and shouldn't be too afraid. We should try to trust in His plan and to say yes, and God will help us to do what He's asking us to do. So I'm really relying on the Lord and a lot of good people around me here, for sure. Yeah.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
You're from here, correct?
Yes, I was born in Lachine, Quebec. Grew up, I spent the first 10 years of my life in a place in the West Island of Montreal called Arthenaeum, and which is mostly an English part of Montreal. My family was an English-speaking family, but we learned French in school. But we moved to Edmonton when I was 10 years old. So I'm 55 now, so I spent a good 40 years here in Edmonton, from the age of 10 till I was made bishop in Prince Albert. So about 4 years ago, I went to Saskatchewan to be the bishop there. So yeah, so I'm from Edmonton for sure.
And did you get your start just right next door here? In the seminary right next door? Am I wrong?
Not exactly. So there's quite a long process for formation, really good process of formation for clergy. And so we start with philosophy, so I went to the Seminary of Christ the King in Mission, BC, to do philosophy and to start discerning my vocation there. Then I came to Edmonton here for Saint Joseph Seminary. That was at the old location on the way to St. Albert, just north of Edmonton. So I started off there. A few years into my program there, the Archbishop sent me to Rome to finish my studies, my theological studies there. So I spent 3 years in Rome, finishing my degree, and was ordained a deacon in Rome, and then came home in the year 2000, early summer of 2000, and was ordained a priest for Edmonton. And then after some ministry in parishes, as vocation director, the new Archbishop at the time, Cardinal Collins, now sent me to Rome to do some more studies. And when I came home, I started teaching at Newman Theological College and Saint Joseph Seminary. So, and during those years, we moved next door. We built the new seminary here and the new college, and changed locations. So I spent a lot of time on this property here. And now, so the bishop's office, for those of you who can't see this, the bishop's office is right next to this Newman Theological College and Saint Joseph Seminary, and also the Villa Vianney, where our retired priests are.
So it feels good to be home?
Yes, it does, for sure. Again, sad to leave Prince Albert. I know some Prince Albert people are watching, and it's a very beautiful community, and I'm very happy to have been there. And they've certainly formed me in a lot of ways. But I'm just trying to take this as, the Lord's will, and to follow Him here in faith. And so yes, I'm happy to be home.
what, when you look back on your service so far, what lessons that you've learned will you lean on in this new role?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges in the area of Prince Albert. It's a city of prisons, it's just by the way history develops, the government founded institutions, correctional institutions there. So there's about 7 correctional facilities in Prince Albert, so like a provincial Saskatchewan penitentiary, for example, which serves the country, really. Anyone can go there. I didn't have a lot of experience, for example, with prison ministry as a priest. I spent a lot of time in teaching and in that kind of role. But as bishop, I realized this was a big part of our population, and there are Catholics in prison, or people who are baptized Catholic, or who want to become Catholic, And we have a ministry there, and some of the family members are living in the community. So I think one of the things I learned when I was there was how that kind of violence and crime, that sort of thing, it touches a family, it touches a community. Many people in that area worked in the prison or as teachers or cooking, there's a whole support network for that system, so that kind of weighty system is sort of also affecting a lot of people in town, like in our parishes. So I tried to be present in the community, and I started the last couple of years visiting the penitentiary, particularly with some of our chaplains, and had the honor of baptizing some inmates, some who are going to be there for life, and it was such a powerful, edifying, also baptizing, confirming, giving them their first communion, and then they're going to Mass every week, that sort of thing in the prison. It was very powerful for me to see how faith can really help people in the most difficult situations. They want to take responsibility for their actions, but also heal and be better people, even if they never leave that facility. It was a very powerful witness to me of hope and faith, and how that can really transform our lives. So that was so I know Edmonton has a prison as well, but I guess it's some experience with the poor, with prisoners. Those are things that I never had before, and I'm much more aware of how we have responsibility to reach out to our people in need, and as a church we can really, there's a lot of gifts and resources that we can offer to reach out to those around us. I guess I always knew that, but I guess I'm more aware, I think, of the poor and those in the restorative justice, we call it, prison ministry. And so, I hope to bring that here.
When you talk about the mission, when you talk about the mission, does it translate differently in every places you are, and are there specific challenges to Edmonton? You were talking about homelessness and the fact that you have resources, so how do you kind of implement that, I guess?
Those are some things I have to figure out, but I think the church's mission ultimately, I think, is to proclaim our faith in Jesus Christ and to sort of share that with people, and all that the church has received we believe, has received from God, and how we hand that on to people who already are believers, who come to church, but also witness to people around us. So I think that's the primary mission of the church. But Christ also sent us, like, the heart of his message is love of God, but also love of our neighbor, and that we serve him when we serve our neighbor. So I think whether people are Christian or not, or or disagree with us, that's they're our brothers and sisters, and that we want to reach out to them and help. Everyone's created in the image of God, so we want to cherish them as the image of God, and help them to live a healthy life. So I think that's the broad mission, but then each place will have its special challenges or contours, I think. And so Edmonton as a city, and the Archdiocese is bigger than the city, but it's also the provincial capital. Government is here, and so that'll be a whole challenge for me to sort of so there's a lot of responsibility in this community, I think, and how can we certainly meet the needs of the people around us. So in a rich place, certainly have a lot of poverty too, as we know in Canada.
Est-ce que vous auriez un message en français à faire passer pour la communauté francophone de Edmonton?
Oui, je peux parler très simplement, peut-être aujourd'hui, mais je suis très, très heureux d'être nominé comme archevêque ici. Je suis votre archevêque. Et s'il vous plaît, priez pour moi et oui, je veux vous servir toujours et je prie pour vous aussi. De rien.
Any further questions? Okay. Right. Thank you, Your Grace. Appreciate it. Okay. Thanks everybody who joined us in person and online. Your Grace, thank you for your time, and God bless. Thank you.